All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about window lighting. And so I'm setting up, actually, I'm stealing my son's room because he actually has the best windows in the house for window lighting. So let's take a quick look at what that looks like. So here is his window, right? There's just nice big windows. We've got just these little tiny drapes on there. I've gone ahead and pulled one of them open. But you can see that there's not any direct sunlight coming in, right? The sun, this is mostly facing north, right? When you're facing north, the sunlight doesn't actually come in because, right, especially in the winter, the sun is actually, kind of more over this way. It's staying low on the horizon. So we don't get any direct sunlight coming in through here. And again, if it's direct sunlight, it's harsh sun, right? We want just regular old diffused light. So the light that's coming in through this window, it's all just bouncing around out there in the sky. And, it's bouncing, it's just bouncing around on the sky. It's bouncing off of those buildings, those sort of things. And it's all indirect light that's then flooding into this space. So that's our window. Now, when we do the window lighting, we're not taking a picture of the window. It's really important that what we're actually doing is we're using the light from the window. So like actually where I'm at right now, right, the light's really nice, right, because I'm actually being lit by that window. And so we're going to go ahead and to start with, that's our light source, right? The window is our light source. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let's just bring this on over, and I'm going to bring the camera as close to that window as I can. So when I do that, like the closer I am to the light source, the bigger and broader it is. So now that light's even bigger than it was before. And you can see it's pretty bright as it's averaging everything out. So again, I'm going to touch the screen and block the exposure. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit because it seems a little bit too hot. I don't want to blow out. I'd rather allow that background to go kind of darker and then have some contrast between those. So once I do that, there I am. I'm in window light, and I'm facing directly at the window, right? If I flip this around, you can see, boom, there's our window, right? So I'm looking directly at the window. So this is going to be frontal or butterfly. But again, the butterfly effect, we're not going to see the shadow because it's so big and so frontal. So, it's just, we'll call it frontal, but the direction is straight on, just like butterfly. So when we get ready to shoot, we're just going to go ahead and take a couple of pictures, in our frontal lighting. Now, we're still going to be using our different fills, right? So now there's not a lot to reflect, but we're still going to try it, especially in the butterfly. So here's our white. And again, with this one, we're going to bring it down below. So as best we can, we want it just out of the frame. I'll come in a little bit closer. Okay, so that's our white. Next up is silver. So we'll take a picture with our silver. And again, that fill's coming from below because we're doing frontal. And we're not going to see a lot in this one, but once we start getting to split lighting and Rembrandt, we will. Okay, so that's our silver. Next up is gold. And then last but not least is our black. Again, I have this below. With the black too, I could see, if I came in, if I could block some of that as well and darken it down. All right, so those are our frontal. So again, our light source is here. So as we start to rotate, we're going to be rotating and starting to get our 45-degree angle, right? So I'm going to go ahead and move my reflectors and my chair. And then I'll go ahead and bring the camera around. So now I'm at about a 45-degree angle, and you can see again, we've got some shadow here on this side, we've got some shadow on that side. Now, is it a perfect Rembrandt? Probably not. I'd have to maybe fudge with it a little bit more, but we're kind of in a loop slash Rembrandt, right? And I'm about 45 degrees to that light source. So I've got brightness here, and I've got shadow on that side. So I think that's going to work fine for what we need here. So let's go ahead and get a couple. Okay. And then we're just going to go through our fills again. So first up is white. Now with the white, again, what we're trying to do, so there's our shadow, and then there's the fill, right? So you should see a difference, darker, lighter. Right? So then let's go ahead and shoot a couple of those. Okay, so that's white. Next up is silver. So again, no fill, fill. Okay, so that's silver. So our next reflector is gold. Again, you know, without fill, with fill. Let's put it this way, so we get a little more. So no fill, and then there's some fill. So we're just picking up a little bit of that warmth. And then our next one is black. And again, what we're trying to do in this case with the black is just to actually add a little bit of extra darkness to that shadow side. You know, in case we are getting some amount of, you know, bounce that's filling in from over there, you know, and it's going to be subtle, but we just want to fill in as much as we can with that black. Okay, so that's our Rembrandt. And then last but not least is going to be our split lighting or side lighting. So we want to then be at a 90 degrees to the light. So in this case, there we go. I'm going to even cheat it a little bit further, just because there's so much fill and bounce that's kind of coming along in there. Okay, so this way, if I keep my face this way, I'm pretty close to 90. I maybe twist it a little bit further than that, just so that we really can kind of keep that side dark. That way we can see the fill and things. Let's double check our exposure. Again, I want to make sure that that highlight side is maintaining. I don't want it to blow out. So I want, you know, good detail on that side. And it's okay if that part goes dark. Okay, so there we go. So let's go ahead and take a couple with nothing. There we go. And then we'll just work our way through our reflectors. So first up is our white. So again, there's no fill. Well, there's no fill. And then there's fill. And so just kind of play with that. I'm just twisting it in my hand, you know, bring it a little more forward. If I bring it too far back, see, it creates kind of what's called like a core shadow. So there's still like, there's a highlight here and then a darkness in the middle there. So if I can cheat that out forward a little bit, and again, you know, we can see we're getting quite a bit of light out of there. We're not trying to make it 1-to-1. It's never going to be the same brightness, but, you know, compared to that, that's a significant improvement, right? Okay, so that was white. Next up is silver. So again, there's no fill, there's fill, right? And so again, you know, you can even see it kind of picking up light back in that background too. So we're just gonna kind of feather it and move it around a little bit until we get, you know, a good amount of brightness in that shadow side. All right, so that's silver. Next up is gold. So here's our gold reflector. And again, there's no fill, there's fill, right? And so it's not quite as bright as the silver, but it's got a lot more warmth. And then our last one is the black. And so again, we're already getting pretty, pretty dark side over there, but as we bring that in, we might be able to darken that down just to even a little bit further. So if I'm treating it this way, now I'm in short side lighting. If I treat it this way, I'm in broadside lighting. One's Rembrandt, one's split lighting. So anyway, those are our different reflectors. So that's the basic idea. That's window light. Again, we don't want any direct light coming through, right? We want just this big, broad, open source of light. And, again, the light's going to be really soft and even. We're going to have good shadow edge transfer. And then, as we are frontal, the light's really soft and even. But then if we do want a little bit more drama, a little more directional light, then it's just a matter of shifting ourselves into those different angles, the 45 degrees and then the 90 degrees for our window light.